who's coming through the door. I think we've met somewhere before. Hello, love.
Hello there.
Hello, love.
We're back at it again.
Where in the world have you been so long? I missed you so since you've been gone. Hello, love.
It's Slider, it's Monroe, it's you on the text line, the phone line.
Make yourself feel right at home. I hope you plan on staying long. Come in, love.
All right, come on in, sat a spell, as I always say. Spend some time with us here this morning on the Watchdog Morning Show. If you have something on your mind you want to share with us, 304-214-1600, 304-214-1600. I mentioned yesterday was Cinco de Mayo. My only nod to Cinco de Mayo was I got 6 tacos for $6 from Sheetz. That was I really kind of wanted a margarita, but I don't drink anymore, so I couldn't have a margarita. Texter says, Howard, you could throw extra salt, lemonade, and ice into your prune juice. Well, I haven't reached prune juice stage yet, but maybe I could have made up one, I suppose. Last hour, the Ohio election results. A couple of things we were talking about. The Nancy Guthrie case, will it ever get solved? I don't think so. And talking about some of the West Virginia elections as well. Coming up later on this hour, we're going to be talking with intermediate court justice and who wants to be reelected, Dan Greer, as conversations with candidates continue. And coming up in just 1 minute, it's going to be Mike Pushkin. We're back to the Greenbrier, the battle for the Greenbrier, and some of the really egregious claims made in court filings about that.
Island Pawn & Gun is the Valley's leading pawn shop. Always pawning or buying gold, silver, jewelry, coins, firearms, name brand tools, electronics, gaming systems, and antiques. We'll buy or pawn your motorcycle, ATV, vehicle, or classic cars. And we pay cash. Stop by 2 North Broadway Street on Wheeling Island, Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. Fast cash and quick service are always available at Wheeling's Island Pawn & Gun.
Hi, I'm Laura Wakeham Chapman. I'm pro-life, pro-Second Amendment, and a conservative Republican. I humbly ask for your vote on May 12th. I'm Laura Wakeham Chapman, and I approve this message, paid for by committee to elect Laura Wakeham Chapman.
Derek Ennis wants your vote for the House of Delegates. But public records show he hasn't cast a vote of his own in 6 years. Ennis hasn't voted in 11 of the last 14 elections. If he won't show up to vote, how can we trust him to show up for us in Charleston? Don't settle for a candidate who stays home. We need Dolph Santorini, a proven leader with a 40-year record of showing up and getting results. Vote Dolph for House.
Paid for by the committee to elect Dolph.
Let's have an auction. L13, 14.
Frio and Stack Auction Service. We sell the earth and everything on it. From estates to business liquidation, antiques, coins, firearms, real estate, and more. We're also certified appraisers. Frio and Stack can handle it all. Call us now for a free outside consultation. 304-233-3168. Or visit FrioandStack.com. Licensed in West Virginia, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. Frio and Stack Auction Service. We sell the earth and everything on it.
A serious injury from an accident can be just the start of your worries. What if you cannot return to work? How do you take care of your family if you're disabled? At Gelner Law Offices, we represent seriously injured people and understand their problem. We know how to get you fair compensation. We will work hard to make sure you get the money you deserve for your losses. Don't go it alone. If you're hurt in an accident, call us at 304-242-2900 or visit us at gelnerlaw.com.
We'd like to help.
Hi, I'm Laura Wakeham Chapman, your state senator. I'm fighting to make life more affordable for West Virginia families. I was the lead sponsor of a plan to freeze utility rates for 1 year so we can finally study why our costs are rising faster than anywhere else in the nation, even though we have more energy resources than any other state. I also helped deliver 3 historic tax cuts, including eliminating the Social Security tax, putting money back into your pocket. I'll keep standing up to special interests and fighting for you. I'm Laura Wakeham Chapman. I approve this message, paid for by committee to elect Laura Wakeham Chapman.
Your station for a good morning.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Howard Monroe and the Watchdog Morning Show.
Don't be a hero. Don't be a fool with your life. Billy, don't be a hero. Come back and make me your wife.
It is 8:13 here on the Watchdog Morning Show. Temperature is dropping, actually. We started out around 57, 56 about that. We're now down to 55, 54, 53. What do we have here, Bob? 53?
We are all the way down to 51.
51 degrees in St. Clairsville as well, so temperature is dropping. I thought we were going to hit 60 today, but I think we may have hit that and are moving downward. A very dreary morning outside. Overcast skies and some rain coming down. The battle for the Greenbrier is continuing. Now, a lot of the story, a lot of the news, a lot of the information that we've been hearing in this fight between the Justice family and the Omni Hotel parent company are things we have heard for years. Things we talked about when Jim Justice was governor. Unpaid bills, the diverted cash, unpaid sales taxes, all these kinds of things. But it seems as if the Omni Hotels in their court filings, and they've been speaking only through court filings, have really been tightening the screws and pushing these issues much more to the forefront. I invited West Virginia's Democratic Party Chair Mike Pushkin to talk to us about that and the concerns they have. Mike, good morning. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Good morning. Good to be here.
In some ways, this whole battle for the Greenbrier is nothing new, right? I mean, there are a couple new things that I want to get to, but these are the stories we have heard over and over and over again, going all the way back to when Jim Justice was governor.
Well, prior to him being governor, we've all known that Jim Justice's business model has always been to use other people's money as your interest-free loans, and whether that comes from not paying your taxes, not paying your vendors. Not submitting the sales taxes at the Greenbrier, using that, which is criminal in my opinion. If you or I tried to do something like that, we'd be at Huttonsville.
Right.
But Jim Justice seems to always get away with it. That's not new. What is new was what the lawyers for Omni submitted in a court filing. They put their names on it and their attorneys. They said in a private meeting with Senator Justice and his attorney that the claim was made that they might as well not even try to collect the money because Jim Justice had this influence over the court system in West Virginia because he appointed so many judges. That's the part that we find particularly concerning, and that's why we are asking for an investigation by the Senate Ethics Committee, because this is using your office, using your elected position to influence the court system, at least making that claim. At the very least, they made that claim. So that's incredibly troubling, and that's what we are drawing attention to.
It falls into the category of saying the quiet part out loud. Jim Justice may have felt that way. I got the power. I can control this stuff. But apparently he made the mistake of actually saying it right in front of the folks from Omni, which puts him on the record and now on the court record in a federal court case, which makes it much more difficult for him to go, golly gee, I didn't really mean that, because it's now on the record. When I saw that earlier this week or late last week, I couldn't believe that those things were said out loud.
It is hard to believe. I wish it didn't happen, but this is, the attorneys for Omni, I imagine they have pretty good lawyers. They put it in a legal document and submitted that, saying this is what happened at that meeting. So far, the attorney for Senator Justice didn't really deny it. Just said, well, he didn't appoint the judges in Greenbrier County. Well, they didn't say that. They didn't deny actually saying what he said. And there's no doubt in my mind they said that. At least one of the other side, one of the plaintiffs in this case who are suing the Justice family, wanted them to think that they might as well give up. They're not going to get a fair hearing because Jim Justice has this influence over all the judges in West Virginia.
According to the court filing, and this is a quote from the court filing, the senator and his counsel threatened if the collection efforts continued, the Justice defendants, the Jim Justice family, had influence over or appointed all the state court judges in West Virginia, and Omni could not get a fair trial in West Virginia, which is, again, it certainly is unethical. I don't know if that crosses some line into illegality or not, but it certainly is unethical to make those kind of threats. So you're asking the Senate Ethics Committee to look into this, or where are you asking this be?
That's where we're starting. Yes, we've contacted some of the members of that committee, reaching out to the members of that committee, and looking into filing a formal a formal complaint with the Senate Ethics Committee. It definitely violates Senate ethics at the very least. Is it criminal? Possibly, but it definitely violates the Senate ethics of using his position as a U.S. Senator, his position as a former governor who made appointments to try to threaten the other side in a legal hearing. That's a problem, and that's something new. Like I said, we all know that Jim Justice likes to play shell games with other people's money. That's not new in West Virginia. He should be in trouble for it, but he seemed to have been always skated away on this one. But this is new. Sitting there at a meeting with attorneys and telling the folks across the table, you might as well just give up because I'm the great Jim Justice and I've appointed all these judges, and you just might as well just quit right now. That's wrong, and he needs to be held accountable for it.
I've been using the line lately, Mike. Jim Justice has, for all of his public career, managed to be a step ahead of whatever the claims are. Didn't pay sales tax. Well, eventually he paid it, and so it was done. Liens against the Greenbrier became an issue, so they were removed, although more of them have been added recently. Shifted money around, but, he eventually paid the health insurance. He's always stayed a step ahead of the claims. I have a feeling, this is just me, I have a feeling he has now come up against the bigger bear, as I've been calling him. I think Omni is the bigger bear now.
I would imagine that Omni has some pretty good attorneys as well. So, we'll see how that goes. But, it's not new. Jim Justice has always, that's the Jim Justice business model. Don't pay your debts and use that unpaid money that you owe somebody else as an interest-free loan. That's his business model, and I think a lot of small businesses in West Virginia have been harmed by him doing that. Talked to a lot of small business owners all over the state that have ever done business with Jim Justice, and they will tell you that some of them are no longer in business because of this. So he's left this trail of unpaid debts and of destruction with small business owners throughout the state, and he's gotten away with it. But this is just a bridge too far by threatening the plaintiffs who are suing him and saying, you might as well give it up because I control the courts.
Mike,
that puts into question the integrity of our entire judicial system here in West Virginia, and that's serious.
Mike, what do we know about Jim Justice? Has he always been like this as a businessman, or did he behave like this after becoming governor of the state?
I believe he's always behaved like this. It goes back before he ever ran for governor.
All of these financial claims, as you point out, Mike, are nothing new. We've talked about them on this show. You and I have talked about them here. Everybody's talked about them for years, going back to his governorship. But what I think is a little bit different is that Omni has kind of pulled them all together and laid them out in black and white, one after another, in one concise court document. And clearly, it's almost every day they're tightening the screws on that document, adding more information. So these are things that kind of we knew and we've talked about, but now they're contained in this court filing, this request for a receivership, and they're kind of laid out in black and white, so to speak. It becomes a little more clear than just guys on talk shows or politicians and so on talking about this. This is now right there in black and white in the court filing, and I think that takes it to a different level.
Well, we'll see. He seems to have gotten away with everything else, but we'll see. I think that making these threats does take it to a different level. You're correct, but also, they're charging people for this, historic preservation fee, whatever they call it. If you stay at the Greenbrier, if you look at your receipt, you're getting charged for money this fund that's supposed to go back into keeping up the hotel. And if anybody's been there recently, you can clearly see he's not keeping up the hotel. He's using that money as like I said, an interest-free loan for his other business interests. And to me, that should be criminal, not for me to say. But we'll see where this goes.
My wife and I have been to the Greenbrier a couple times in the recent years for a little vacation, and the word I use is tired. It's not falling in disrepair. The bricks aren't falling out of the wall, but it's just not up to snuff. It's just looking tired. It needs upkeep more than it has been getting. Anybody who goes there can see it. Do I still enjoy it? Yes, but is there a need for it to be kept up better? I think yes, and I think that's one of the claims the Omni folks are making too. Is this is just not living up to the standards of the iconic Greenbrier that it's supposed to be.
No, and also there are the claims of not paying the benefits for your employees, not covering their premiums, not having them, a lot of them living in substandard housing. Those that he has brought in from other countries to work there, especially living in substandard housing. There've been all sorts of claims about he just hasn't been a good owner of America's resort, and that's something that West Virginians have always taken pride in, is the Greenbrier, and it's horrible to see it fall in disrepair like this under his watch.
From Jim Justice's perspective, or the Justice family perspective, the Greenbrier is more than the Greenbrier. It's kind of the, I don't want to say the money bag of their operation, but were they, the family, to lose control of the Greenbrier, to lose the Greenbrier, it would then have great impact. It's kind of like pulling, a card out of the middle of the stack, or pulling a domino out or something. I'm afraid that his business is built to some extent on a house of cards, and you pull this out, you pull the Greenbrier out, which is where much of the money is flowing into, and then to other companies. I think this reverberates through his entire business operations.
Well, yeah, he's been using the resort as a piggy bank for his other business interests, and that's wrong. Especially when you're charging people a fee for the upkeep of the resort, you're not using it for the upkeep of the resort, or you're not, several years ago, not paying his the sales taxes there and using that as an interest-free loan. This is what the rest of his businesses are founded on. Therein lies the problem.
I made a joke at one of the stores at the Greenbrier when I bought something a couple of years ago. It was when the sales tax issue was a big deal. And I said to the clerk, I said, how about this? How about if you just don't charge me sales tax, and I'll take it right over to the state? I'll just take my sales tax directly.
At least they get it.
Yeah,
at least they get it that way.
They did. The clerk didn't seem to understand my humor there, but I thought, listen, if I'm giving it to you, how do I know it's going where it's supposed to? All right, Mike, I appreciate your time this morning. You all ready for the election coming up? How are you feeling about your?
I've been listening and watching all these, these ads in this, Republican civil war that's going on here in West Virginia, where you have, Team Takubo and Team Smith, and the governor bringing in, outside, millions of dollars in outside money to try to buy influence over the legislature, which he completely has lost control over. And it's just, to me, it's hard for me to shed a tear, for either side in this Republican food fight, when they are the ones that created this environment where so much dark money is able to be spent. For years in the legislature, they have voted to create this shroud over dark money, and they vote against any kind of campaign finance reform that we try to initiate. In fact, have gone the other way, and then they want to cry when all of a sudden, all of a sudden they get bit by the snake. When this dark money gets turned on them. Well, maybe they should come to their senses and join up with us and work with us to enact some meaningful campaign finance reform to get the dark money out of politics. But I'm not holding my breath for that to happen, Howard.
I've heard a lot of people, in particular, about these mailers that have been showing up in everybody's mailbox. I said yesterday, it's like termites on rotting wood. There are just so many of them showing up in your mailboxes. And everybody's complaining about them. Candidates are complaining about them. The opposing candidates complaining about them. The general public complaining about them. And you always hear this: why can't they do something about this? And I want to say they could, and they've tried, but it's not. Yeah, you don't get enough support for it.
Well, yeah, they're the ones that created this environment. We could do something about this in the legislature, and many of us have tried. And the Democratic Party has always been opposed to the Citizens United decision, which had created this environment. And it's the other side that claims that money is speech and corporations are people and all this BS that I've never believed. And on our side, we've never. I think Citizens United was the worst decision in modern times, and has led to this environment where you see so much negative advertising and allowed for so much outside influence in our politics, and it's getting uglier and uglier. But now that the Republicans are on the receiving end of it, they want to shed tears over. Well, I'm sorry if I'm not very sympathetic with them, because they're the ones that created the environment to begin with. So maybe they will see the light and do something about all this dark money. But like I said, I'm not holding my breath because I know these people.
All right, Mike, good talking to you. We'll maybe chat after the election, see how things are
I'd
going.
love to.
Appreciate it very much. Talk to you soon. Thanks a lot.
Hey, take care.
Washington Democratic Party Chairman, Kanawha County Delegate Mike Pushkin with us this morning on the Watchdog Morning